The answer to that question is going to be no. I think I'm rounding up, but it's been roughly 20 years since we've seen Team Avatar. I can't help but feel disappointed in the same ways that I felt the disappointment in basically the same time length that it had been between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3. Roughly a 20-year wait there as well. But I think in that time, as much as I want to limit my expectations here, I think in that time, it's really hard to limit yourself and your expectations. Obviously, your expectations are just through the roof for something like this. And coming from my own experience, I'm a huge Avatar fan. I've rewatched the main series multiple times. I've watched Korra through at least once. I'm a strong fan for the series overall. I think it has a very grounded, a very emotional arc through many of its stories that it's trying to tell here. It has a very relatable element to it that a lot of other series just lack. The story that we told with the original series is so powerful and comedic and emotionally potent and just very relatable, and it's very down to earth, it's very heartfelt, it's very real. I think for some of those reasons why so many people put Avatar itself up on a pedestal, myself included, because it really is the staple of storytelling. And I would just go ahead and say right out the gate that I think this film is very much one for the fans. I don't think if you're a newcomer for any reason and you felt like picking this film up and just watching this as an introduction to the series, I don't think this one is for you. I think this is very much in line with the fans or existing fans of the series. And if you're not aware, I'll go over a brief history of what this film has kind of been through. Initially, it was going to be a theatrical release, and then we got the announcement a few months back that it was being pulled from that theatrical release and being sent straight to streaming. And then after that announcement, the film unfortunately did get leaked online. The full film got leaked online. I was one of the people that did not watch any of the leaks, or tried not to watch any of the leaks, and wanted to really support this film on its finished release. That day that it was finally released to us was actually yesterday, so here we are, having seen the film now, we can finally give our full opinions on it. I will say, visually and music-wise, like art direction and music, this film is, of course, just top tier. Like, we hit a home run with this film. We'll have a spoiler-filled video up tomorrow for those interested in a more in-depth look at the story beats that didn't quite land for me. I think where it does fall short is ultimately going to be the plot and the story that we were delivered overall. This attempt to sort of broaden our horizons, sort of expand upon the lore of Avatar, I think is a bold leap. I don't think it necessarily landed. This is, again, one that I would think needed more time in the oven. Story-wise, I think there are some things that definitely need to be fleshed out. A lot of the story beats that we try to visit here, I do not feel like they fit a movie format. I think a lot of these story beats are definitely more akin to that of a season of a show, where they're given more time to breathe. A lot more things are able to be fleshed out more thoroughly. As it is now in a movie format, this film doesn't even come in at an hour and a half. It ends in an hour and 28 minutes, which I know is probably a nitpick, but to fit everything that we try to fit into this film in an hour and 28 minutes is a little bit insane to me. There's so many story beats, story elements, narrative choices here that are good ideas. As I said, they just do not have time to marinate, time to breathe, that they desperately needed. There are a lot of moments in the film where we're just flying through at a breakneck speed, and I desperately just wanted to slow down and kind of just check in with everybody. Like, I like slice of life shows, anime, anything in that ballpark. And this film, because we're on such a tight time frame, it lacks those mundane, those routine aspects that were actually present in the original Avatar series. Like, I wanted to see how Toph, Katara, Zuko, Sokka, Aang, everybody's doing on their day-to-day. You know, it's been, like I said, 20 years since we've seen Team Avatar. And I really wanted to kind of dive in and see how everybody's doing. Like, what does their day-to-day look like? Do they have any new hobbies? What's the trials in their life like on their day-to-day in this time in their life? And we did not, of course, get anything like that. We're very much throughout the whole film just go, 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 go. And it's to this film's detriment, absolutely. So much so that a lot of these characters just get sidelined. I would almost say that Katara, Toph, and Zuko, you could almost remove them from the film and I don't feel like you lose that much. Of course, it's good to see them. I just don't feel like they were utilized enough to have them in the film necessarily. And I very much wish that they would have done more with them. As it stands, I will say the actor for Sokka and the utilization of his character is very well done here. I think a lot of his humor is on par with the way it was in the original series. I think a lot of his jokes do land and he acts much of the same that we expect from Sokka at this point. I think that was a very accurate portrayal of him. Aang is a bit questionable at times. There's some choices that he kind of makes that I almost don't feel like he would make these choices. I feel like this is a bit of a narrative leap as far as writing goes. I could best describe this film overall as like a burger and a serving of fries, and this burger just looks like just the Mount Everest of burgers. It looks like it's topped with everything that you wanted. It looks very appealing to the umpteenth degree. It's got everything that you could ask for visually. The fries sizzle in perfect harmony. It sounds amazing. This analogy is getting a bit out of hand, but then you go to bite into said burger and it just tastes like an average burger. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here. It's something that looks very visually stunning, very visually breathtaking. It sounds amazing, but then when you really dive into the plot and the more that I kind of sit on it, the more I'm left a bit disappointed with it. We'll get into more story beats and spoilers in our next video, but for now that's what I'll leave it as. So at the end of the day, it comes down to our big questions. First off, was the film fun? I would say yes, it is fun, and it poses some really intriguing ideas here, but it lacks that fine-tuning, that loving care that we've come to expect from the Avatar. So ultimately, I would say the film is fun, albeit lackluster. Narratively speaking, of course, as I've said before, the visual aspect and the music of the film is outstandingly done. We definitely did hit a home run with it, as I said before. And our last question, do I recommend the film? Much to what I was saying earlier, this is very much a film for the fans. There's a lot of callbacks and nods to the main series in here. So I think this is very much one for the fans. If you're new to Avatar, I would not watch this film. I don't think it's a good introduction point to the series, and I don't think that you would necessarily gravitate to it being a newcomer. If you are a longtime fan of the series, I think you're going to like it overall. I think you may find some shortcomings in your own opinion, but at the end of the day, of course, I did not hate the film. I'm very pleased that we actually got more Avatar in this day and age, and the treatment that Paramount has done to the series overall. It's very clear that this is a very underutilized, undercared for series, and I really truly hope that we do get more from this series. I hope the reaction to this movie makes it clear to Paramount that we need more from this series, specifically animated, more fleshed out animated versions of this story, or built upon this story. Much to the same nature as this movie. I just really want them to take their time, really iron out all the details for it, because this is a very lasting, very strong fan base here. A fan base that is still very much alive to this day, 20 years down the road. That's how strong this fan base is, and how much people truly, truly care for this story and these characters. So it's not something you can just throw out there and just say, all right, here, like, this is something that really, really needs your time and attention for. And that would be my ultimate message to Paramount. Like, really, really hone in on this. Take your time with it. You have just a treasure trove of potential world building, character development here. This story is ultimately one of the best ever told. So with all that being said, I look forward to seeing you on our spoiler video tomorrow, and thank you for sticking with me.